the latest in tech and accessibility. This is Access Tech Live with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Back on Access Tech Live? Back on Access Tech Live. Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo with you, of course. Stephen, you wanted to mention something, that Dave was just talking about.
Yeah, I'm very rarely surprised these days, but that answer that Dave gave to our question of the day, it surprised me so much I can barely speak, because it made me think about something. When he talked about needing assistance to use the washroom, it kind of made me think about one of the biggest problems I have, which is when I go into a public washroom, actually trying to identify where everything is in the washroom. You know, if you've got sight, you walk in, you know where the sink is, you know where the hand towel is, or the dryer or whatever it is, but you don't always know where all that stuff is when you're blind, right? So I'm thinking, hey, could AI help in that regard as well? Could it kind of point, using my phone, could I point and it would tell me what a device is or tell me what something is? That could be really useful. So it's got me thinking. That really has got me thinking.
And listen, I mean, this is where universal design doesn't really translate into the real world, right? Not every space is going to be the same, and this is where tools like the Be My Eyes and all that AI stuff does come into play, and AI does, I guess, technically help in that aspect, right?
It does. Okay, look, we're going to try a live demo here. So, look, this could go horribly wrong. Much like any Bill Gates or Steve Jobs of the world demo you might have seen in the past, we will warn you ahead of time, this could be an epic fail. Do the kids still say that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, look, Mark, where should we begin?
Well, I mean, we're going to throw on the screen here my Microsoft Surface. I've got Windows running here, of course, and I'm going to do my best to describe exactly what's going on here. Now, launching Copilot, they couldn't have made this easier. You press the Apple key. Look at what I'm doing here. The Windows key, and C at the same time, and it brings up. It slides in from the right side of the screen. Basically, it takes over the screen, and Copilot appears there. And it really gives you a couple options right off the top, whether the conversation style is going to be more creative, more balanced, or more precise. So I guess that's going to, gauge exactly how things are going to go. And by default, it's on more balance. And it even gives you some suggestions on the screen. It says, here are some things Copilot can help you do. Turn on dark mode. And then it explains Copilot uses AI to respond, so mistakes are possible. Send feedback to help us improve. And let's not forget that there's a nice big PRE for pre-release on the icon to let you know that this may have issues. So that's how it appears on the screen. It's kind of like a chat window, and that's the goal here, is to be able to chat with the actual AI. So on the bottom, there's a box like you would see on any chat window that says ask me anything, where you can type in text, and right next to that, to the right, there's a little microphone. If you want to use voice recognition, you can do that as well. And there's a character count on the bottom that shows you have 2,000 characters per query. So I'm going to ask a basic question like, what time is it now? And see if it can, figure that part out. I mean, it should, considering the fact that, the time is built into the computer and the operating system. It's going to say what time is it now.
It's the most basic thing, right?
The most basic thing. You'd think it would, there we go. The current, and you got to wait, the current time in Dollard des Ormeaux, that's the municipality that I'm in. Well, I'm waiting for it to say that. Quebec is 4:28 GMT. Okay, there you go. You can also check the time in other locations using the Maps app on your Windows device. It's so clever like that, how it refers you to other apps on the device, which is pretty cool. And then it gives you some options, some follow-up options. The cool thing about all this is that it's contextual, so it remembers what you just talked about. So it gives you the option to see, what is the weather like? Can you set a timer for 10 minutes? Okay, not sure if that's relative or not. So my follow-up here is going to be, how far is Montreal from Glasgow? Because I want to know, if I wanted to walk there right now, how long it would take to get there. And hopefully it knows that obviously I can't walk there and I'm going to have to fly. So we'll see what kind of clever response it gives us now, which is always fun. According to the Bing search results, of course, shameless plug there, the distance between Montreal and Glasgow varies depending on the means of transportation. It's smart. The shortest distance, and in brackets it writes airline, between Montreal and Glasgow is 2,983.38 miles. However, if you want to travel by car, you'd have to cover a distance of 4,805.59 kilometers. You can also use the Google Maps app to find the best route to travel time for your trip. Interesting. It's promoting another search engine. This is kind of fun. So again, contextual information and useful information. I don't think I'd want to get there by car. And there's even a little picture that shows you 4,806 kilometers, and it shows you a little map with Montreal as a pin and Glasgow as a pin, which is pretty cool.
Now, you mentioned dark mode, and that, of course, can be seen by many as an accessibility feature. It is kind of one of those features that's fairly universal nowadays. But, you know, I'm just wondering, can this tool be used to turn on other accessibility features? So I'm thinking on Windows, you've got magnifier for low vision, you've got narrator for blind people. Can it turn those on?
Well, let's try it out. Turn on magnifier, and let's see what it does. I mean, you would assume because it can do dark mode, maybe it can do that. But again, pre-release means that there are things being worked on. So I wrote turn on magnifier, and I'm just waiting for it to respond, and it says, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot turn on the magnifier app for you. However, I can help you find some information on how to use it on your Windows device. Here are some steps you can follow. And it actually says to open magnifier app, press the Windows logo key and the plus sign on your keyboard. You can also go to Start, Settings, Ease of Access, Magnifier, and turn on the toggle under magnifier. And it gives me some more information
but look, just on that point, right? You could think, oh, that's a fail, but actually it's not, because it's helping you. It's actually telling you how to use it and use it properly. Because maybe if it turns on magnifier, it might throw people off, because magnifier is exactly that. It's a magnifying glass that's zooming into your screen. That might freak some people out. So you don't want that. So, you know, actually just telling you instead is good. And, you know, normally if you did a search result for that in your settings, your computer would probably just look back at you and say, I don't know. So, you know, I think this is good. I'm actually impressed.
Okay, fine. You know, I mean, another thing that, you know, we can do and we want to try out here is, you know, summarizing things like websites. Dave talked about, you know, summarizing the things before. So I've got the Access Tech Live page here up on the AMI site. I'm going to take the link from the Edge browser and I'm going to paste it into the chat, and I'm going to write summarize this website. And I'm going to paste the link right here and hit enter and see what it comes back. So it should be able to read the site and give us a pretty good summary as to what's going on here. I'm hoping it doesn't, you know, misspell my name. So it says search in the web, and it says, this website is a collection of episodes from a show called Access Tech Live, which is a live weekly broadcast that covers technology news and topics related to accessibility and inclusion. Okay, this is pretty good.
That works, yeah, that's good.
The show is hosted by Marc Aflalo, they spelled it right, and Stephen Scott, who are both experts in the field of accessible technology. Okay.
Ah, well, you can't get it all right. Okay, it's not always right. You know, close enough.
And it goes on. The episode features, you know, the episodes feature various guests, such as industry professionals, researchers, advocates. And you know what? The funny thing is, if you look at the website itself, nowhere does it say any of this stuff. And then it breaks down some of the topics covered in the episodes include gaming accessibility and the innovations of Xbox Game Studios. So now it's relating to actual episodes that are listed on the page, which is actually pretty cool. But you know what? The most important thing I want to know is, who is Marc Aflalo?
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. We've got to do that one, right?
Listen, you want to see incorrect facts? This is the way we're going to find it here, okay?
He's a chef in Australia or something. Yeah, it's going to be something.
Well, it should be contextual, right? It should know that we just searched for Access Tech Live.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
On the website, so Marc Aflalo, it's a Canadian producer, host, voice talent, and broadcaster. He's the host of 2 shows related to technology and accessibility: Double Tap TV on AMI TV and Your Tech Report in Sirius XM. So it's clearly getting some misinformation here. I've been an influential leader in the industry. It says I've been an influential leader in the industry since the age of 18. Look at that. I'm so cool.
Put that on your business card. That's why I said
no, but it's what's going to be on my business card. I can promise you that. We're going to make sure that's front and center, which is pretty cool. But listen, I mean, we're hearing that, you know, Copilot can do things like create images. It can actually, you know, it can recognize pictures as well. So you got any ideas of what kind of image you want to create?
Okay, tell you what, let's do a cat in a tuxedo.
Okay, so let's go generate an image of a cat in a tuxedo.
Why not?
No pressure here. No pressure whatsoever. Like, I wish Copilot knew it was on the air live with us, and it realized how much pressure was on it to either succeed or fail here. I mean, so far, I mean, I don't see any major fails here, right? This is pretty. Pretty helpful. It goes here, okay.
And it's useful.
It says generating answers for you. I'll try to create that, and it's working. It's like an hourglass with a paint shop with a paintbrush next to it. And it says your image is generating.
Okay. Now here's the question I need to ask you, Marc, because when this image is created, I'm not going to be able to see it. So I wonder, can we re-upload that image and ask the AI, the co-pilot, to tell us what the image is, and then it will prove to me that you've actually done what I asked.
First of all, I'm going to tell you that it generated 4 images for me. And for some reason, it's putting the cat with its paws crossed in front of it in a beautiful tuxedo. The cat has black ears and it's black and white like a tuxedo, in beautiful landscapes. And for some reason, it's sitting on a bench in one of the images with its legs crossed as well, which I find is very cute. So let me see if I can drag that to my desktop. Okay, I did. I dragged it to my desktop, so you can just drag things in and out. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to intentionally, I kind of wanted to reset Copilot, but I'm not really sure how to do it. So I'm gonna upload the image. I'm gonna drag it into the search in the Ask Me Anything kind of chat bar. I'm gonna say describe what's in this image, and I'm not telling it that it's the same image, right? So it's uploading. It shows me analyzing the image. Faces may be blurred to protect privacy. So we may see this unfortunate little cat have a blurred face because it thinks it's a real, belongs.
We don't want to
somebody.
Identify the cat, exactly. That would be, even though it's not real. Okay.
Yeah, well, listen, come on, we'll get there. So it takes a little bit of time. Obviously, this image shows a cat in a tuxedo sitting on a bench near a lake. The cat is black and white and has a black bow tie. The cat is looking at the camera with a serious expression. The lake has some trees in the background, and the sky is cloudy. The image is realistic and has a lot of detail. I mean, that's pretty impressive in terms of.
And actually, that's an important part of all of this, though, is the fact that you now get these excellent image descriptions, which for people like myself who are blind, this can be a life changer. It really can, because I could upload an image that perhaps I've got that I don't really get much detail from at all visually. So, I can upload this and get lots of information, about the clothes I was wearing on a particular day, or what the weather was like, or what else is in the environment. And even I remember the first time you tried it, Mark, I remember you saying to me, goodness, there's things in that image I didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
It picks out so well. It's so clever.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just our first dive into Copilot, and next week when it's available for Microsoft 365, and we can really put it to the test in things like spreadsheets and Word documents and Outlook and all those apps that we use on a daily basis. That's where things are really going to make a shift, and we're going to see. And the coolest part about stuff like this is to see what people come up with, because we're playing with it, we're uploading pictures now, but these are things that people probably never thought of doing and are going, oh, that's cool, I never thought I could do that. So I'm excited to see what other people come up with and what ways they try and push it to its limits, because that's what we're going to see next week.
Yeah, I think that was a very good demo. For live demos, that went pretty well. Well done, Marc Aflalo.
I'm impressed. I am impressed. Okay, guys, coming up, Dave Dame, he's been criticizing us in the background. I'm sure he's going to tell us all about whether that was a success or a failure. He's going to join us right back here on Access Tech Live. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
We want to hear from you. Follow us on social media and get involved at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. latest in tech and accessibility. This is Access Tech Live with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
We're back on Access Tech Live, and Dave Dame is back with us from Microsoft. Dave, you may have just, I don't know, covered your ears, covered your eyes during that. I don't know what you thought of our live demo there. We showcased some of the Copilot features that are baked into Windows. How did we do?
I thought you guys did great. Like, live demos are probably the most scariest things you can do. And you guys did it great, and you were very articulate, and the curiosity in which you were exploring Copilot is what I hope a lot of the viewers do when they get a chance to experience it. Use curiosity and just push it to the limits to learn what it can do to improve your life.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's about how it can improve your life. And one area we were talking about there, of course, was with the accessibility features. I mentioned narrator and magnifier, just two of the many accessibility features that are already built into Windows. But how will that connect, do you think, across the operating system with all these accessibility features into Copilot?
Can you repeat that again? I think I missed a bit of that question.
Sorry, Dave, we were just asking about the accessibility features. I'm talking there about magnifier, narrator, all these different features that exist within Windows. How will Copilot work with those features to make computers easier to use for people?
Well, right now, as you showing on your demo, it's the awareness, right? It's showing people they don't have to know where to look for the information. They can just simply ask. So the first step is really just providing the knowledge. And as we evolve AI and use it further, who knows how much more things will do, sense, and respond, and maybe in the future suggest to users that they might take advantage of these features.
Dave, in designing Copilot, obviously there's so much work that goes into this. Like, as consumers, we're looking at this thing going, oh, let's play with this little chat window. But there's so much that goes into it. I'm curious what steps Microsoft has taken to make sure Copilot can be accessible to people, because it's not only about the context and the information that it delivers, but the experience itself needs to be accessible, right?
Well, I think you showed it right from the beginning, starting with multimodal input, right? You can either type it or you can use voice. I think in everything we try to do, especially when it's the Copilot, how do we create as many input and output options we can to use it, and really use the large language model for people to naturally ask for things. Like, I became a great storyteller because I couldn't draw or do images. But in your demo, now we can all create images to be able to supplement what we used to not be able to do, to allow us to express ourselves in ways we couldn't before. So not purely for accessibility, but it surely helps enable people who have challenges doing things that might not be labeled as an accessibility feature, but as an enablement feature.
I have to ask the question for the people at the back of the room who are terrified to put their hands up, Dave, and that is ask what an LLM is, because these are these terms that get thrown around, right? And we know what they are because we deal with this stuff every day, but a lot of people don't have a clue. So can you enlighten us?
Yeah, we usually like to use acronyms just to confuse people. It's large language models. So we try to build models of large dynamic language of all different phrases, words, to make it more human, right? We as humans have learned many different terms, vernaculars, analogies, and that's why it's easy for us to interact with each other. On the technology side, using large language models, we're trying to create that naturalness and flexibility for interactions just to make technology less scary and democratize it so it's more intuitive for everybody. Kind of like what the mouse did for people that, weren't didn't always enjoy command prompting everything. The mouse allowed us to point where we can see. And now that we're using large language models, we can speak naturally and interact with it to really take advantage of this great technology without having to become an expert in it.
Dave, we talked earlier about accessibility taking a little bit more of a center stage approach, and in the last product keynote with the Surface Laptop Studio, it definitely got a spotlight because of the new haptic touchpad that was completely redesigned to allow people, obviously, who don't have hands to be able to use it and use it in different ways. Are we going to see the reinvention of some of this hardware to adapt to the different ways people use it more and more in the mainstream?
Yeah, what's great was it's not even just for somebody without a hand like Solomon, but it's also for people that might have arthritis, carpal tunnel, they might have low strength. And while we're trying to really put this right into the device, and I think Solomon said it beautifully in his keynote about it, usually as somebody with a disability, we got to bring all our peripherals with us whenever we travel, right? We don't have the luxury of just bringing our device. What we're trying to do in the next little bit is how do we try to incorporate all this amazing assistive kind of technologies right on the device itself to really alleviate the user from having to get extra peripherals, carrying them around with them. So that way people can simply get their device and start using it. So we're trying to make the device itself more flexible from day one to reduce the need of all the other things that you might need to tailor it to your specific needs. And the haptic trackpad was simply one of them.
Dave, we're out of time. Time flies so fast when we're doing this show. I wish we could have another 2 or 3 hours to dive into things with you. I wanted to talk about your scuba diving in Jamaica last week that I saw online as well, but we didn't get to that. So hopefully you'll join us again, and we can dive into way more about Copilot and, of course, everything and the incredible stuff that you guys are doing over at Microsoft.
I'm a huge fan of what both of you do. I always enjoy spending time with you, so I'll always make myself available for you. This is great conversation, and it's great for all the viewers.
We cannot agree with you more, Dave. Thank you so much for being with us. And you guys at home, of course, don't forget the question of the day. If you could have a personal AI system that could master one area of your life, what would that be and why? Those answers and Sean Priest are coming up after we take a quick break here on Access Tech Live. Stick around.
We want to hear from you. Follow us on social media and get involved at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back. latest in tech and accessibility. This is Access Tech Live with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Coming up, your answers to our question of the day. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, every month we debut a new episode of Shaun of the Shed, Shaun Priest's podcast, all about great accessible tech tips. And Shaun joins us now. Shaun, welcome back to Access Tech Live.
Thank you. Great to be here, Stephen Scott.
And what do we have to look forward to this month on Shaun of the Shed?
Oh, it's a beauty, even if I say so myself. The latest episode of Shaun of the Shed is for you NVDA screen reader users out there. NVDA is the free, I love that, free Windows screen reader. Stands for non-visual desktop access. It's absolutely amazing. But there's been a recent update that adds a new, I'm going to call it feature, and that is to do with add-ons. Now, as the name suggests, add-ons means that it can add on extra functions and features to the screen reader. So, for example, I know lots of people out there use JAWS, the screen reader. There's a feature on there called split sound, and it means you can hear the voice, TTS, in one ear and the actual system audio in another. It's really handy. But NVDA doesn't have that by default. But there is a add-on that can give you a very similar feature, and you can get the same effect. So what I'm going to show you in the latest episode of Shaun of the Shed is how you can browse for all those different add-ons and how to install them, and more importantly, how to use them. It used to be back in the day that you had to go out searching the web to find these elusive add-ons, but now you can do it all from inside NVDA itself. It's really cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Shaun. You can find that online now by going to youtube.com/@Shaun of the Shed, Shaun being spelled the proper way, he would tell you, SHAUN of the Shed, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Stephen?
Thank you, Shaun. Yes, let's get to our question of the day, Marc.
If you could have one personal AI assistant that can master one area of your life, what area would it be and why? This has been a fun question. A lot of people giving us some feedback. A lot of ways I didn't even think of. For example, Leanne writes us, paying the bills so I don't have to keep logging into online banking. That's a curious one. I'm hoping they don't expect AI to actually have the funds to do so. But that would be
good. You can make the money up, yeah.
Exactly. Randy wrote us, healthy meal planning for a family of 4 who all eat differently. That sounds like that almost could be my wife answering that question, because I think we're all kind of in that boat. Paula D wrote us, taking my dogs out at 4 a.m. I'm surprised there's no addition to that, which is picking up after the dog after it does its business.
That's the next thing.
At 4 a.m.
Absolutely.
That's what I was kind of expecting. Maybe a drone to follow that, or a drone-powered AI could be fun.
A drone with a claw. Yeah.
And a sensor, and a dog poop sensor. Stephanie wrote my job. Okay. Yeah, and funny enough, we got 2 of them. We also got Andre, who wrote us my job. Andre, a fan of the show, Andre F. And Joanna wrote us, changing my cat's litter box and my daughter's diaper. Oof. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. This is one of those questions that I think for the next week or so, we're going to see answers trickle in, and we're going to see answers that we just totally did not expect as to how people actually see personal AI working for them. I don't know. I think still the dog and the picking up after the dog might be the best one so far.
There's a lot of bathroom talk here, which I was not expecting, if I'm honest, out of that question. But there we go. This question forever surprises me that we do every week. We get some incredible answers. Thank you to everyone for sending those in and making me have nightmares tonight.
Yeah, seriously. Stephen, next week, Sarah Herlinger is going to be joining us. She is the head of accessibility at Apple. So many things to talk to her about. Apple having just released iOS 17.1. The double tap feature on the Apple Watch is super cool. I've been using it ever since it was out last night, and I did the update on my watch. I literally just holding my hand up to my face, going, pinching my thumb and my index finger and letting it navigate the watch was absolutely cool. I'm unfortunately sad that you don't have the Apple Watch Series 2 to be able to test that, but
no, I don't have it, unfortunately. But listen, never mind that, because we're coming off the back of another Apple event, a surprise Apple event called Scary Fast for Halloween. Although it's not, I just want to say this, it's not officially Halloween because 31st is Halloween. I just want to be very clear on this.
Because they know that people are going to be out trick-or-treating. They don't want to dive into trick-or-treating time with your kids. They want you to be paying attention to the event and seeing what they announce, which is going to be pretty cool.
Happy though. I'm not happy with this because, 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. in the UK. Come on, Tim Cook, if you're listening.
You know what?
He won't be able to say good morning. He'll have to say good evening.
I will tell you all about it in the morning, and you won't have to worry about it. You're not going to miss a thing. I promise you. I'm guessing this is not going to be a live event. Well, like this. Well, also Copilot November 1st. So we've got a lot of things to look forward to next week. We're going to be diving into, obviously, Copilot. Special thanks to Dave Dame, who took that time to join us. He's a fan of us, Stephen. He's going to come back on the show. Did you hear about that?
And I think we're going to clip that and use that a lot in the future.
Oh yeah,
that's
a note. That's a note right here.
I keep those clips. Yeah, absolutely.
I keep those.
And also, Mark, well done to you on the live demo this week, because that was an incredibly difficult thing to do. It's the most nerve-wracking thing to do, is a live demo on stage, but not in front of the millions of people watching Access Tech Live right now. I believe our live stream is back, by the way, so you'll be able to check that out on YouTube as well, which is fantastic.
So we'll check that out. So thank you for being here, of course, this week. Thank you for enjoying and enduring our live demo. On behalf of Microsoft's Dave Dame and Stephen Scott, I am Marc Aflalo. We will catch you again on our next episode here of Access Tech Live.
Thanks for tuning in to Access Tech Live. Follow us online at all social media at Access Tech Live. Email us feedback@accesstechlive.com. Hosted by Stephen Scott in Glasgow and Marc Aflalo in Montreal. Written by Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo. Live show director, Anastasia Spalding-Stenhouse. Technical director, Caitlin Robinson. Audio, Jordan Mulgrave. Live graphics and playback, Kingsley Jugo. Graphics coordinator, Eliza Rocco. Integrated described video specialist, M. Williams. Supervising producer, Michelle Dudas. Copyright 2023, Accessible Media, Inc.
An AMI original production.